Hello, hello, happy Sunday. Let me just pull you guys up on the other page here. We are going to have some fun today. There we are. Oh, that was a quick one. Thank goodness.
Siege
oh,
here.
And I don't need to hear myself twice. Alright. Oops. That was not what I wanted to do. Oops. Hang on. Hang on. Shoot. Alright. Hang on. I gotta pull it back up again. Oopsie poopsies. There we are. Didn't quite transfer over the way I wanted it to. There we go. Hello, hello. All right. Well, this is my last official live in our old house. I have already pre-recorded our Technique Tuesday for Tuesday because I have started to dismantle my desk today. So we have to be out by next Sunday. So I gotta now take all my stuff over to the new house. So hello, Carol. Hello, Anita. Thanks for joining me today. We are going to get started right away. We are making a birthday card using Christmas stamps. I love being able to use things double duty. So that's why I kind of pulled these ones out of the mix. So this is the, Naughty List stamp set by Catherine Pooler. And it's got some cutie patootie. So it's got a little puppy in a box, a little kitty wrapped with lights, a little puppy wearing some reindeer ears and has some ornaments and stuff around him. We have a kitty in a tree, and then a puppy sitting on a bunch of presents. And he's got a little kind of springy star on him. And these two are definitely usable outside of Christmas. Even this one, you could probably use it outside of Christmas. The other two, you could be creative, right? Yeah, so I thought we would do something a little different. And we're going to use the Paper Hearts collection of 6x6 pattern paper. Both of these products are in the shop. And this is what we're making. We're making something interactive because I love an interactive card. Now, I forgot to punch the other side of this. So what you do is you pull it up and it reveals your little puppy pal right there. So I'm going to teach you how to make this. It's really, really easy. Really easy. All right. Are you guys ready? Away we go. So the first recommendation for making something that has a pull-up type mechanism is to use like a side folding card. Okay, not a top folding, because I think it works 100% better when you don't have a fold at the top, because then it doesn't create problems when you make your card base. Okay, so I tend to use, and you have to think about that sometimes. So we're going to use a side folding because most of my cards I create are top folding. It's just a personal preference, but this time definitely a side folder. Way easier. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do, we're going to bring in a separate panel because it just works so much better. Because this panel right here that's covered in paper sits on top. Okay. So you're going to take whatever same size and you're going to create a top portion. Okay. So I thought we would use circles because they're just kind of lovely. And I'm going to grab a ruler and a pencil because we need to kind of map things out a little bit as far as centering things. Now I have to find a pencil. Oh, wait, there's one in my cup. All right. So you can use any circles or ovals. You could use rectangles, diamonds, whatever you'd like. But I want to try and get things a little bit more centered on this card than I did on my other ones. So center point is 2 1/8. So I'm just going to mark this. And the nice thing is that this can all be erased. When you do it in pencil, good old white eraser is going to be your best friend. There we go. So that's just going to help me center this tiny piece at the top and my circle to make sure that it's right in the center of the card. Okay? So before we go any farther, let's put this aside. Let's bring in whatever pattern papers we're going to use today. So this collection has some really, really pretty stuff. Now, the nice thing about Catherine Pooler 6x6 pattern paper packs, she has listed all of the matching inks that go along. So anything that's related to her ink line is listed on the paper pack. So you know exactly which inks go with the patterns in the paper. It makes creating so much easier. So just so you know that. So I'm going to get you guys to pick out 2 papers. So I'm just going to find like a pairing, and then you guys pick which pairing we're going to use today. So I love this plaid, and I love this little kind of teeny heart. And let's see, we're going to go a little bit different than our other card because we got to mix it up, right? Oh, this is kind of like a paisley and posies. It's really pretty. Oh, and I love this gingham. I wonder if our gingham would work. Would our gingham work with that? Yeah, I think it will. Okay, so you guys pick. Do you want hearts or paisleys? Hearts or paisleys? You guys get to pick what we're using today. Sorry, I'm slightly out of frame there. Let me just put my little bundle back in my paper keeper here. All right. So which one are we using today, everybody? Anita says hearts. Okay, we got one vote for hearts. Carol, do you want to put your say in there, girl? Ooh, I'm thirsty today. And Carol says hearts too. Okay, you guys got it. Perfect. All right, we're using this combo. It's so cute. All right. So this is where you can kind of get creative. I just did a slant. It's an easy design, right? Nothing fancy schmancy, but it gets your point across. We get to use some pattern paper. So let's see, how are we going to maybe make this a little different? Maybe we'll go with the majority of the plaid and then maybe like a slice of hearts. How about we do that? So I'm going to start this by making a base layer, and we're going to use the plaid as our base layer. So I'm going to make it a little bit smaller than the card front. So I'm going to take a 1/4 of an inch off all the sides, all 2 sides. So 4 by 5 1/4. Okay. And then I'm going to we're going to do kind of like this, but make sure our hearts are straight. So let's do kind of a slice first. I'm just going to randomly pick 2.5. We're going to make it the same height. So it has to be 5 1/4 for height. So now this piece is same height as that one. Okay. And then we're going to just take a random, a random slice out of it. This is how quite often I design cards, because it's like, oh, well, we're just going to make this easy on ourselves. Okay, so there we go. Okay, we're going to do a simple design like that. So the first thing I always do is we are going to put this on the top. Hi, Billy. Welcome, welcome. Glad you guys could join me today. All right. I'm pretty generous when I'm doing a cutout on the surface of a card, is to put a fair amount of adhesive on this, because I really want every part of that pattern paper to stay in its spot. Okay, and this one has a little teeny hair longer. Okay, I'm just going to do a little, can you guys hear me okay? I'm going to do a little trim, just so it looks all nice and pretty. Okay, So there we go. There is the basis of our card. Okay, I like having a little bit of center. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to first die cut our white base. I'm just trying to think. You know what? Nope, we're going to cut this first. Okay, so I am going to take my... We're going to find the center point, so I kind of know where to put my circle. Okay, it's 4 inches wide. So we're going to mark out 2. This is just going to help me center up my circle. There we go. Okay, so we're going to pick 2 circles that are fairly close in diameter. So this will be our inner piece, and then we're going to go step up 1 and go to our outer. So if you cut this one first, and I'm just going to find a sweet spot here. If you cut this one first, let me grab my low-tack tape, then you can center this one, okay? And then you can match them up perfectly. Okay. So I've just low-tack taped it down for the moment. I'm just going to take this off camera and do it through my cutting machine off camera instead of bringing it underneath. And like I said, this is simple, but of course interactive. Okay, so there we go. So if you start with this one, this circle, and this is why I use lots of adhesive, because wherever this is over top, you want it to stick, right? You don't want it to come apart. All right. Now you take this, and this then becomes your guide. So you're going to find its happy place on top of your white card base. I'm just trying to find an equal distance. I think this one is a little bit long, so if I need to trim the card, I'm going to trim it down here. Okay, this looks pretty good. I'm just going to temporarily just hold them together, and I'm going to take my smaller circle, and I just want to make sure that I have an even gap all the way around. Therefore, this paper is going to be perfectly placed, and this center frame is going to then sit perfectly within. So we're going to tack this down, and then I'm going to carefully pull this off. Oh, and that's the drama. The drama of doing that. Okay. What I want to do is I want to see if I can hike this up and over. Stay, little fella, stay. Okay. And then I'm just going to tack this down. Voila. And now it's perfectly centered. Okay, off camera to die cut this. Okay. Doop-de-doop. Shaky, shaky, dusty. Okay. Now it is beautifully centered, just where we need it. Okay. Come on, little fella. Come on, little fella. All right, we need to do one more cutting before we do anything more. So I'm going to bring in my baby die cut here. I'm also going to bring in my card base, okay? So you need to open up this, and you're going to basically, you're going to line it up. And this time I'm going to line it up with the top because I realize that it's a little bit long, and this will just allow me to trim. Okay, so we're going to do that. And where did I put my tape? Okay, then we're going to tack these 2 together. Okay, tack these 2 together like such. Okay, so my card base is underneath. Okay, you can kind of see it there. We're going to use this one, and we're going to go through all 3 layers. Okay, so on my original card, I forgot to do this. I forgot to do the back. So what happens is it makes it harder to pull this up. Okay. So actually, I'm not going to go through the back. We're just going to go through the top layer and the inside of that first card. So this is what this pencil line is used for. So I'm going to just tack this somewhere where it gives you like that fingertip hold. Okay. And we're going to cut them together. Yes, together. Because it's just so much easier. You can do them separately. Okay, so my die is sitting over top. I've got both layers tacked together. I'm going to put this through my machine. So it's cutting both layers at the exact same time. And yes, you can absolutely use a punch. I only have like 1 or 2 punches. I never collected them over the years. So yes, a punch would be so much easier. They make punches specifically for this job too. Okay. I'm just going to put this through my machine off camera again, guys. Just give me a second here. If it doesn't want to cooperate today. Come on, little fella. I'm just trying to get it to stay between the plates and not hang off the edge. Okay. Slowly, little fella. Slowly. Come on. Come on. There we go. And yes, use a punch. It's faster. Okay, so now if you don't want to put 2 layers together, if you punch one and then position it back over top, you can do it that way too. I'm just trying not to rip my paper. This one is like super stuck. Majority of our pattern paper is going to go over top this, so it's not too much of an issue, but if I can avoid ripping my paper, that would be good, right? Okay, here's one. This one is overlapped. This one, for whatever reason, is going to be a bugger. It's going to be a bugger. Come on, little fella. Because we have... seriously, this is not funny. And this sometimes happens, doesn't it? Okay. The only part I don't want to rip is that piece that's around, that's going to become our frame. Like, this piece is going to be shown. So I don't care about the blue that's still sticking there, because nobody's going to see it. The paper is already there. Well, that's rather annoying, isn't it? All right. Hang on. Before I lose that, going back on my magnetic sheet. Okay, and I really don't want it on this edge. You know what? I never have any problem with this tape, but for whatever reason today. Come on, little fella. And I'm pretty sure that I packed my undo. Darn it. Darn it, darn it. Okay, we're going to leave it. We're going to leave it. On with the show. Now, the one thing I want to double check is if we need this. Oh, I do need it off. Haha. And again, I don't know where my undo is. So undo is like a clear liquid that when you put it on a surface, if it has adhesive, it just kind of dissolves the adhesive. And it works really well. And then it dries and it doesn't even look like you had anything there. Oh, this is not funny anymore. Come on. Again, I'm trying not to rip it. Okay. Ta-da! There we go. So yes, we will need to cut this pattern paper. So I'm going to, oh, and this one is showing too. Just not my Sunday. Okay, here we go. Okay, so again, this would be fabulous with a punch. Okay, I'm going to make sure that this is centered. And these pieces were good, so just hang on. It's being finicky, and I never normally have issues with the paper being so finicky. Okay, so we're gonna wrap that to hold that. We're gonna bring back our circle. Oh, and it's gonna move, seriously. So we're gonna have to tack it down in another spot too. Hang on, hold the horses. So it's not gonna rotate. And we're going to basically just pop that die back into that void. You can even go from the back too. And do it from the back. Sometimes that's easier. And then you just jam it into place. Hold that in. And you can run it through your machine. Okay, 1 second here. I'm gonna run that through. Okay. Come on, little fella. And it's just a simple little cut. Again, a punch should be a lot faster. And now my circle die is stuck. There it is. Yeah, and that's why I didn't want to do that. Okay. Okay, now you can glue down your pattern paper to your backer piece there. Oh my goodness, this tape never gives me problems. And for whatever reason today, it's being naughty. Naughty, naughty, naughty. And I've already packed this tape. It is packed away. Okay, and I just want to double check. We're going to bring in just a good old white eraser and just erase those lines that would be showing. Okay, and now we can adhere this down. So use your favorite adhesive. Just make sure you get around that circle. Who doesn't love, I'm an over adheser. I like my cards to stay one piece, so I tend to use a fair amount of adhesive. That's why I love my Scotch ATG, because it gives me the most bang for my buck in the amount of adhesive I use. Okay. And we're just going to line up all of our die cut circles at the top, and then our frame in the center. And we're looking pretty good. There we go. Okay, now I know this needs a little tiny bit of a trim, so I'm going to do that before we go any farther here. This trimmer is fabulous for getting like hairline. Like, look at that. It's like thickness of a needle. Okay, now we get to play with funky stuff. Now we have to make like the tag that goes down behind. Okay, so this tag is built so that you cannot pull it out. Okay, just works to your advantage, then it doesn't get lost. I mean, you can shake it out, but it will not pull past, and I'm going to show you how to make that. It's really, really, really easy. Okay, the key to this now, we need a strip of paper to create that, basically that tag element, and it's ideally better when it's a little bit bigger than that void in the center. So we're just going to use like this outer circle as our guide to measurement. So it needs to be a little bit bigger than 2.5 inches wide. So let's go 2 3/4. Okay, so that's where we're going to start. I'm just going to grab scrap. I'm hoping this is. Okay, I'm going to start with a 5.5, but it's going to have to be trimmed, so don't worry about that. But it needs to be at least 2 3/4 inches. So 2 3/4 inches. There we go. Keep this little piece because we're going to use it. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is we need to flip this over, okay? Because we're going to be doing a lot of work on the back now. So the next key thing is to find the center of this. So half of 2 is 1, and half of half, so it's 1 and 3/8 is the center. Okay. So I just want to kind of get an idea of where the center is, and you're going to trace the edge of your card. Okay, so now I know everything is centered. Okay, there we go. We are going to trim this because we will be putting on a piece at the bottom. Now, okay, next we're going to start by tacking our tag momentarily. I'm using stray pieces here because we're going to stamp first our happy birthday greeting. Okay, we are going to be using, oh, please tell me I didn't put this away. There it is, it's hiding. Okay, this is the Heffy Doodle Party Palooza, and I love the scripty happy birthday. And we're going to use it as our greeting. So we're going to start there. So I've tacked this together. Okay, my tag is also in position. Okay, underneath. I'm going to put it in your stamping tool. We've got our mini Misty here. We're going to hold it in place. And we're going to start with our happy. And I put it on a slight angle because I think it looks cute that way. Happy. And then we're going to pull some kind of colors from this. So I like that darker pink. And it just happens to be Sparkling Berry because I pulled all the colors from the color palette there. So let's use this and maybe the Crushed Violet. We'll do different for both. Okay, so stamp in our happy. I'm going to do it a couple of times. Make sure that everything is good. Perfect. A little wipey. Then we're going to do our birthday. All right. Okay, birthday. Make sure we got it the right direction. And then we're going to put it within that void. And trying to match the angle of the happy. I think that looks good. Okay, this time we're going to use our Crushed Violet. Put our birthday through that void. There we go. Okay. Little wipey and put our stamp back. Before I lose it. I don't want to lose it. Okay. Oh. You know what? I'll do that later. Okay. So on my original card, I actually stamped my puppy out on a separate piece and adhered it on, like die cut it using the coordinating dies and then put it on. But this time, I think we're going to stamp it right on our tag because I think that will be much easier. Now, before I take this out of position, I'm going to use my pencil and I just want to, I want to mark the bottom of our circle. So this is just going to tell me I want to hide my puppy below that. Okay. So that gives me my guideline for that. We can unstick these. And we're going to bring in the Misty again. And we're going to stamp our little fella. Okay, do you guys want me to use the same puppy? Bring the stamp set back in here. Okay. The same puppy, so the star puppy or the present puppy. We can go either. You guys decide. So present puppy or star puppy. And then I will stamp on whichever one you guys choose, and we'll use that one today. So, and he just says present puppy. All right. We will use the present puppy. Okay. So again, we're going to use that pencil line, which is, I know it's hard to see on camera, but we're going to use that present line, and we're going to put our puppy just a hair below that, just a hair. So it totally hides, but as close to that as possible. There we go. And we're going to use a Copic friendly ink today. And I'm just using a Memento Tuxedo Black. And we're stamping our puppy out. And I hope this didn't move too much. Oh, he's looking good. Okay. My pad is a little bit dry. I need to re-ink it. That's why. Oh, that's pretty good. Okay. Little fella is now on the tag. This will just help with things not hanging up behind the mechanism, but you can absolutely do what I did on my original and color him separately and then tack him on the tag. But I wanted to show you this way too. Okay, so I have already kind of pre-picked colors that go with our little baby today. Okay, I want to bring you guys in a little closer here so you can kind of see what's going on. Oh my good golly, good golly. I have got ink no, it's a tear in the paper. That's fabulous. Okay, so we're going to use Copic markers. We're going to make this really, really simple, and we're just going to use pinks and purples because it's too cute. Okay, we're going to start with our light toned purple first. BV31, and because his box is already kind of striped, let's make it a plaid. Okay, I'll show you. You don't necessarily have to color in the stripe per se like the artist has created. Let's make it our own. So BV31, what we're going to do is, you know how sometimes a plaid has like a line running through it? So we're going to literally color on both sides of the line. Yep. We're going rogue today. Okay, both sides of the line. I'm going to skip over a line and do this next line. I'm going to do the same thing. So we're making our own plaid with the pre-existing lines. Okay, so there's BV31. We're going to go light pink. We're going to go R81. So down that center line, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go on both sides of that line. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing on the bottom. I hope that makes sense, because if it was a repeating paper pattern, that next line of plaid would be right there. There might be a teeny titch of color showing there. Okay. All right. Now we're going to go and take our darker purple. I'm going to use a BB13. Hi, Beth. Okay, we're continuing with the plaid. So I'm going to take, and you can do whatever thickness of line you want. We're going to do some thin ones. I'm going to leave a gap. Okay. Let's see. We'll do it right here, and that looks pretty good. And I'm trying to mimic the same thickness. And we're going to say it's going to fall right on that edge there. We're going to go down the other side. We're trying to mimic the width between the lines to make our own plaid. Again, and we'll do right along the edge. There's a little teeny itty bitty part of the box, the inside, and we're just going to make it a BB13. Okay, then we're going to go with our richer kind of pinky. RV34. And again, I've gone and kind of color matched these. And then we're going to do completing our plaid by putting a cross piece in this color. There we go. And this one is going to continue down. And might come back and do mid one right there. I don't know yet. Go down this side and go down this side. So we made our plaid out of a stripe. Doesn't that look cute? Cute, cute, cute. Okay, we're going to make the lid of the box pink, like a solid pink. Instead of going in and mimicking that, we're just going to make it this part easy. So I'm going to go in and color with an R81 to get the base color. And this image is very, very simple. And you don't have to be fancy schmancy with your coloring. And I'm going over that bow. Oops. That's okay. We're going to go over it with a darker color. Okay, to add a little bit of shading, I'm going to do an R83. You like the plaid? Yes. I wanted to show you that sometimes you have to think outside the box, or the present. That you don't always have to color in the lines. Okay, we're going to put a little tiny bit of a shadow underneath our little bow. So I'm just tracing a little bit of the lines underneath, just to kind of cast a shadow. All right, voila. Okay, then we're going to go in with our purple. Hi, Holly. Okay, so I'm going to put our base color down. I'm going to do all the ribbon. Okay, BV31, and we're going to do all of that ribbon, the bow and everything. And then we'll come in and put a tiny bit of shading in it. Just a tiny bit. Again, you can just flat color this. Doesn't have to be spectacular. It's made with love, right? Okay, BV13. Okay, we're going to put a tiny bit of shading along the edge of the box. We're going to do the inside of the bow. Like the artist has indicated, we're going to do a tiny, tiny bit coming out kind of from where the knot is, and we're going to do a little bit down the edges of the knot and a tiny, tiny bit on the back one. And then to blend it, to make it look smoother, I'm going to go back to my light purple and go over top and kind of draw it out. Okay. And that's basically use kind of like a similar color to blend it out. Okay. Tissue paper. Let's do a dark tissue in his thing. And of course, we're going to make this really simple. Okay. Whee! Just coloring it really simply. And we're going to go around our cute little puppy. Isn't he cute? What kind of dog do you think he is? Because he could be just about anything. He's kind of generically drawn, but he's super cute. Okay, tissue. Now, if you don't have the next color up, this is how you get away with it. So you take the same marker and you add another layer. I haven't changed markers at all. Okay, and you just add another layer. And that's why maybe that's this little fold here. Do that again twice. See how it's darkened a little bit, and you can go in again and darken it even more. You don't have to have all the colors. There. Okay. So let's do his tongue because I still got my pinks out. This one is just the R83. And then let's just make him a brown puppy. A brown puppy. We're going to do kind of like his chest piece first. W0. We're just going to add a little bit to his chest. And then we'll do the rest brown tones that I'd already kind of pre-picked. Okay, so I'm going to start dark this time. E35. And I'm going to basically touch this wherever I think there's going to be a shadow. So I'm going to mimic kind of the hairy part of his face there. And we're going to come down under his ears, like they're casting a shadow. And let's do a little under his chinny chin. A little kind of behind the scenes there. We're going to do the base of his paws and down kind of like his toe lines. Okay. We're just making it simple. And then maybe just a titch kind of on the outside of his ears maybe. How's that look? That look good? Okay, then we're going to come in with our lighter tone. We're going to use an E34. And then we're just going to basically color in his body. His cute little paws. And you're still going to see those dark effects. We're going to go over his snoot. I'm going to go right over his nose, too. It just helps fill in that black. Okay, we're going to do down his muzzle, and then let's see, we'll maybe leave him a little bit of white underneath. Yeah. And a tiny bit on his ears. Oh, you know what? That looks kind of silly. So let's fill it in. And again, if you want to darken something, you can go over again. And if you want to put those wispy hair-like pieces in again, because maybe this color might be a little bit too close to our dark color, you can go in and add them back in. So I'm going to pull and show you. So Anita asks, is there a benefit to doing the dark shadowing first? Sometimes and sometimes not. So for instance, skin, I like to put a base coat of whatever the lightest shade is going to be down first. So that just preps the paper. It's a preference thing. Hair, I generally start with the dark and move to the light. And skin, I go light, the very lightest first, and then I go to the dark. And then it just makes it easier to blend, because skin you want to be a little bit smoother. You don't really want like a super textured part to it. Okay, so before we go and do anything, I'm going to go and erase our little lines that are all on our tag, okay? All right, so let's make this tag so you can't pull it out. Okay, and this is the secret. So we're going to put this back in place. So if you flip it over again, you line up your tag with your already pre-drawn lines, and I'm going to use our beloved low-tack tape again. Make sure that it's lined up at the top, okay? Okay, so this funky little thin piece, and you can use anything you want. It's just a scrap, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to make kind of a stopper at the bottom by making like the top of a T, for lack of a better word. So I'm going to grab my adhesive here. And if I can find a starter piece. Okay. So I'm going to decide that we're going to trim off a little bit of this tag, okay? Because I want to be able to put a little bit of foam underneath it. So let's just pick some kind of dimension, and this doesn't have to be anything in particular. Just has to be enough to give you a width of 3D foam adhesive underneath it. Okay, so we are going to strip that down. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some really good adhesive and we're going to put a line of it above the pencil line. Okay, nobody's going to see this pencil line, so you don't have to worry about it. But you're now going to stick this on, and you need to have a little bit of the ends stick out past the end of your tag, okay? So line it up with your pencil line and give yourself some little tabbies on the other side. And they don't have to be like super huge either. Okay, does that make sense? So you're making a T. It's an upside down capital T. And now we're going to trim this off. So you're going to trim off the bottom of that tag. So now it really will look like a T. See, there's the T part. Okay. So I'm going to line it. I know this is a lot of fiddling, but this is a good way to do this. So I'm going to now take my pencil and I'm going to tap at the end of the T. Okay. And then I'm going to flip it over and we're going to pull it up as high as we can to get our little puppy in the viewfinder. Okay, then we're going to flip it over and then just make sure that that tag is lined up with the line that you previously had. And you want to indicate where your tag is sitting now. So you just kind of trace the T part. Okay, so now we have our guide mark. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to extrapolate down. So I'll show you why you need this in a second. Okay, so when this tag is completely down and you can see the happy birthday, okay, the recipient is going to pull this up. Okay, and then you want it to stop somewhere. And there you go. There's where the image is going to be seen. Okay, so that's your stopping point. So this T, you only want it to travel up that distance. Okay, so put this back down again, line everything up. It's key to line up that top surface. Excuse me. All right, and then just a second here, just lining it up perfectly. Then trace the bottom of this so that we know. Okay, so this is the void. These are the special things that we need. I'm going to bring in my eraser. And you don't need to do this. Nobody is ever going to see these marks ever, ever, ever. Okay, but I want you to see this is what your trail or your cavity behind is going to look like. Okay, so we're now going to bring in some 3D foam adhesive. And I have these 3D foam strips by Scrapbook Adhesives. These are fabulous. Now, this is where you have to understand that you can only put these in certain spots. Okay, so wherever this is, this is a void, right? This is where our tag is going to be. Anything here, right? So anything outside of that can have foam tape. And the key foam tape positions are this bottom right here and this little stopper piece. So I'm going to apply my first strip literally, and I might get my head in here. And I'm going to, basically, I want to put that bottom stopper in first. Okay. And just because I'm going to put extra ones, I'm just going to snip off a piece. Okay. And then the next best areas are to then go down this, because we want to make that little step. So I'm just making that void. And you know what? I'm just going to finish that off. Okay, we'll come back. So you're going to do this side. Okay, and I'm going to just take the rest of the strip up. Okay, these are great because you just peel them off. So the next one is I want to do the stopper all the way up to the top of the card. Okay, go right up to the top, and I trim it just a hair back from the top. Okay, and then you can just add these pieces in. Okay, and we're going to do the other side. We're going to do the same thing. It's really not a card that's very hard to make. There's a little bit of finessing because you make it to fit whatever your image and tag size and everything is. So that's why I wanted to show you the basis of how you do it. And then you just put any foam tape where you think is needed. And I'm just going to go along the edge. It just helps stabilize. I'm going to start from the other end on this one. There's no preference, but there we go. You can use up like your little tiny pieces in the voids. It's kind of like whatever floats your boat. And I am going to put another skinny one. We'll use this little piece too to put in a void. And I'm going to do this corner. I think I have, I've got it already kind of pre-cut. Okay, there we go. So everything. So again, this is the void. So when you put in your tag, there's, see, it stops it. Okay. And of course, the foam is going to keep it in its lovely place. So now you stick your tag in there. We need our card base, which is here. And then we got to take off all of our adhesive backers. And let me just bring in my little magical jar here. I just keep this for little teeny tiny stuff. I don't know if you guys do this too. Stuff that flies away if you don't. And of course the paper wouldn't come off all the way. Silly Billy. And this is what you don't want to do. This is stuck. Because it jumped up. Oh boy. Seriously, this is not my day. Okay. Oh boy. It had to be my last Sunday, right? Okay. Okay, so I took my tag out for the moment. We'll put it back in once we peel off all these. Because it's just not cooperating. You know how it is, right, guys? No matter how hard I plan, something always hits the fan. All right. So it's key for your T to stop by putting those little joints in. You just do that by putting foam tape in those corners. Okay, we're almost done. Almost ready to put this little fella together. Okay. Oh, Jesus. Like, seriously, people? Okay. All right. So let's carefully lay down our tag in the void. Okay. She's sitting in the void. Nothing else here. Okay. And then we're going to line up said. Okay. So there is a trick. I'm going to bring in my stamp positioner. Okay, we're going to carefully butt it into the corner. Okay, butt. Stay there, little magnets. Oh, he's not going to. Okay, butt it into the corner. Okay, the tag is in his magical spot. And then you're just going to do the same with the base. You're going to butt it into the corner. And along your edges, and everything should match up like butter. Like butter. Okay, so now you have a happy birthday message with your little pull tab. And you're going to pull it up, and there's your puppy! And it doesn't come out because you have that T built into the bottom of your tag. Okay? It really isn't that hard. Card doesn't have to be super duper fancy schmancy either, right? It's all about the love that you take to create. So yeah, there we go. Yeah. Yes, there's finesse, Anita, in flipping it. So that's all we're doing today. It's super, super simple. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. I hope you can apply it to one of your next cards. And like I said, it's super duper easy. So thanks for joining me today. I hope you have a fabulous Sunday. On Tuesday, I have a pre-recorded video for you guys for Technique Tuesday. And I'm hoping, I have my fingers crossed at this point, that I can be back with you guys on Sunday, that I have my entire scrapbooking desk set up. We'll have to wait and see. So until next time, have a great day. Bye, guys.